Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Dennis and welcome back to another discussion. And today we will continue our discussion about winter season mini series. And for the fourth part, which is today, we'll talk about hibernation. So in the first part, we talk about winter in general. The second part, we talk about winter sports or winter activities, and then in the third part we talk about blizzard or the disaster that can occur during winter, and then the fourth one, which is today, we'll talk about hibernation. The reason why I want to talk about this is because I just want to know what is the interaction between the animals or maybe plants as well in response for winter season, right? Um, Maybe they will do something and it's called hibernation. Basically, they went dormant state or they went into a state in which they don't really activity uh, they don't really do activity as much and they just basically resting, right? uh, and we'll actually discuss about that as well. I guess we can just jump straight into it. I have about 15 minutes or so. Um, yeah, 15 minutes or so probably. And I guess we can just start. Hibernation is a state of minimal activity and metabolic depression undergone by some animal species. Hibernation is a seasonal heterothermy, characterized by low body temperature, slow breathing and heart rate, and low metabolic rate. It most commonly occurs during winter months. What's this? Northern bat hibernating in Norway. Oh, this is a bat. Okay, I can see now. This is the face, that is the ears over here and over here. And then this is the legs, I guess, or hands, whatever you want to call that. The limbs. Bats hibernating in a silver mine. Oh, they hibernate in groups. I guess it makes sense because um, I know about this from my cats as well. So back then I had so many cats, right? And then they slept in groups. The reason why they do that or did that or still do that is doing that like this is because they want to share or generate heat, right? Because doing this, you have yourself heat from your body, right? And then the thing about this is that if you cramp yourself with others, the amount of heat will build up, and then it will actually be beneficial in this case because they really need the warm, right? Because a little bit too cold, they might not survive, they might die, got hypothermia and stuff like that. So they sleep in groups just to generate even more heat for their body, basically. Excuse me, I just drink. Although traditionally reserved for deep hibernators, such as rodents, the term has been redefined to include animals such as bears and is now applied based on activity or on active metabolic suppression rather than any absolute decline in body temperature. Um, Many experts believe that the process of daily torpor and hibernation from a continuum and utilize similar mechanisms. The equivalent during the summer months is estivation. So during this time they probably more what is it like more active, I would say, like wilder, right? Because they are so active, they probably look for food or something like that. I'm not sure. Or maybe this is just another mention of hibernation, but it's called estivation for summer. I'm not sure. It's either one or the other, right? Hibernation functions to conserve energy when sufficient food is not available. To achieve this energy saving, an endothermic animal decreases its metabolic rate and thereby its body temperature. Hibernation may last days, weeks, or months depending on the species, ambient temperature, time of year, and the individual's body condition. Before entering hibernation, animals need to store enough energy to last through the duration of their dormant period, possibly as long as an entire winter. Larger species become hyperphagic, eating a large amount of food and storing the energy in fat deposits. In many small species, food caching replaces eating and becoming fat. Ah, I see. Um, some species of mammals hibernate while gestating young, which are born either while the mother hibernates or shortly afterward. Oh, that's actually a little bit interesting as well. So while they are hibernating, they also uh, give birth to their youngs, which is it must be hard for them, right? Especially when they are hibernating, they don't what is it like? They don't use a lot of energy, and as we all know, giving birth requires a lot of energy, and yeah, it's interesting. For example, female black bears go into hibernation during the winter months in order to give birth to their offspring. The pregnant mothers significantly increase their body mass prior to hibernation, and this increase is further reflected in the weight of the offspring. The fat accumulation enables them to provide a sufficiently warm and nurturing environment for their newborns. During hibernation, they subsequently lose 15 to 27% of their pre-hibernation weight by using their stored fats for energy. Okay. Ectothermic animals also undergo periods of metabolic suppression and dormancy, which in many invertebrates is referred to as diapause. Some researchers and members of the public use the term brumate to describe winter dormancy of reptiles. But the more general term hibernation is believed adequate to refer to any winter dormancy. Many insects, such as the wasp, Polistes exclamans, exhibit periods of dormancy which have often been referred to as hibernation, despite their ectothermy. Botanists may use the term seed hibernation to refer to a form of seed dormancy. Ah, it also happens in plants as well. So, the seed dormancy, it means that the seed can be stored during this time, so that so that the seed don't just randomly grow, I would say. Mammals, okay, obligate hibernation. Groundhog gathering nesting materials for its warm burrow in preparation for hibernation. Oh, it looks so cute actually. Okay, groundhog gathering the nesting material. I guess it's like dried leaf or something like that. Obligate hibernators are animals that spontaneously and annually enter hibernation regardless of ambient temperature and access to food. Obligate, so it they're obligated to do so. That's why it's called obligate hibernators. uh, okay, interesting thing about this is that how do they know when to hibernate and how they know when to stop, because they don't know time, right? They don't have calendar just like us. They don't know what is, December, what is 15th of December means. They don't know that. So it's interesting to see how these animals prepare or know the signs of hibernation. Maybe they sense the air, maybe they sense the wind, maybe they sense the, I don't know, the heat, probably the temperatures dropping, and then they notice that they get colder, and then they prepared for the nest, probably that way. I'm not sure, but I feel like that's how. Um, just by instinct, right? Yeah. And then after that, facultative hibernation, okay. Enter hibernation only when either cold stressed, food deprived, or both, unlike obligate hibernators who enter hibernation based on seasonal timing cues rather than as response of to stressors from the environment. I think this also, okay, there's an example here. Differences between these two types of hibernation can be seen in prairie dogs. The white-tailed prairie dog is an obligate hibernator, while the closely related black-tailed prairie dog is a facultative hibernator. Um, I think you can also think about it this way, like snakes probably. After snakes eat, like let's say mouse, a lot of them, they will go into hibernation. I think this is called facultative hibernation. It just means that they hibernate when they need it. It doesn't matter when. They just do, right. I think that's what happened here. And then primates as well. Hibernations has long been studied in rodents. Okay. Was known to hibernate until the discovery of hibernation in the fat-tailed dwarf lemur of Madagascar, which hibernates in three holes for 7 months of the year. Malagasy winter temperatures sometimes rise to over 30, so hibernation is not exclusively an adaptation to low ambient temperatures. Okay. Um, okay, so the lemur as the primate. Okay, and then bears, black bear mother and cub standing. Oh, looks cute as well. Um, I think black bear is the most violent one, or is it the brown ones? I'm not sure. But yeah, historically it was unclear whether or not bears truly hibernate, since they experience only a modest decline in body temperature compared with the much larger decreases is seen in other hibernators. Okay. Usually bears in caves, right? I'm not sure. Maybe like just under the tree. I'm not sure either. How do they create nest? That's interesting, right? Because there is only so many caves that can be found. So how do they actually prepare their nest? That's actually an interesting question, I would say. Um, and then what else here? I think it's just still birds. Okay, next we have birds. Ancient people believed that swallows hibernated. Documented anecdotal evidence in his 1789 that indicated the belief was still current in his time. Okay. Um, One known exception is the common poor will, for which hibernation was first documented by someone. Okay, dormancy and freezing in ectotherms, because they cannot actively down-regulate their body temperature or metabolic rate. Ectothermic animals includes fishing or including fish, reptiles, and amphibians cannot hibernate. Oh, I see. Um, they can experience decreased metabolic rates associated with colder environments or low oxygen availability and exhibit dormancy known as brumation. It was once thought that basking sharks settled to the floor of the North Sea and became dormant, but research by David Sims dispelled this hypothesis, showing that the sharks traveled long distance throughout the seasons, tracking the areas with the highest quantity of plankton. Ah, okay. Um, some animals can literally survive winter by freezing. For example, some fish, amphibians, reptiles can naturally freeze and then wake up in the spring. These species have evolved freeze tolerance mechanisms such as anti-freeze proteins. Ah, okay. Well, actually, it's interesting. Why don't people use this then? Because they have anti-freeze proteins. Cannot we artificially build this one, and then we can create ourselves hibernation pod for intergalactic travel, right? uh, do people think about this? Well, I feel like people already have thought about this. Maybe they are developing things. Maybe there are some things that's a little bit too difficult to control. Maybe, right? Hibernation induced induction trigger. Okay, in humans. Okay, interesting. Researchers have studied how to induce hibernation in humans. The ability to hibernate would be useful for a number of reasons, such as saving the lives of seriously ill or injured people by temporarily putting them in a state of hibernation until treatment can be given. For space travel, human hibernation is also under consideration, such as for missions to Mars. Well, I mean, Earth Mars, you can pretty much travel within a few months, I think, or even few years. I don't think you need hibernation. Well, I can see how you need that. Maybe for the fact that you're only on your spaceship and it's pretty much a little bit crampy, right? And one way or another, eventually you will feel a little bit of distress and you will not feel comfortable. So I guess I can see why. Also, I think there is some sort of cryogenic as well, like cryogenic pot. I'm not sure if that's feasible or viable or not. Only have seen that in the movies, not in person, not directly, not even indirectly in real life. It's just from movies anyway. Um, See also dormancy, state of minimized physical activity of an organism, torpor, state of decreased physiological activity in an animal, winter rest, annual state for some plants and animals, cryobiology branch of biology, okay, which is cryogenic. Carolina Olson, Swedish hibernator. Oh, oh, is that the person? Oh, interesting. Okay. And then reference for the readings, external links, just for the reference, I guess. And that's just pretty much it. Okay, so hibernation. Uh, Here we only covered animals mostly. There's some plants got mentioned there, like the seed hibernation. It means that the seed cannot grow, right? So um, maybe there is a separate one for plants, I'm not sure. But generally speaking, plants just don't stay in the winter. The reason why is because one, it is too cold. Two, there is no sunlight. The amount of sunlight is minimum, right? And you can only get probably minutes or even few hours, uh, and it's pretty different from when you have summer or fall, when you can get like sunlight every day. So maybe it's a little bit difficult for plants to hibernate, right? So might as well just don't what is it like, just don't grow in the first place, right? So they don't need to do hibernation, I think. But yeah, anyway, I think that'll be it for today's discussion about hibernation. This has been part 4 of winter series. um, there's still 3 more. I already have the material, and we'll talk about that later on as well. Well, when you're recording, when you're seeing this, it'll be already happened, and it's probably already been, tomorrow, the next day, and then the day after tomorrow as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Part one we talk about winter. Part two we talk about winter sports. Part three we talk about blizzard, and then fourth we talk about hibernation during winter. And that's just pretty much it. Anyway, that's all the time that I've got for today's discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay safe, stay healthy. I will see you again tomorrow, and see ya.